You are already complete. Why seek outside? This ancient and profound wisdom originates from Buddhist philosophy. Yet it transcends religious boundaries and points directly to the core truth of human life. In a world flooded with material desires and information overload, people often drift away from the essence of being inherently complete. Plunging headfirst into the swamp of blind external pursuit, we assume that owning luxury cars, mansions, power, and status will grant us the keys to happiness and fulfillment. Thus, in chasing these things, our desires keep expanding. But even when we reach the peak of material success, we often find that the emptiness within remains unfilled. Happiness feels like an illusion, beautiful yet fleeting. It's not that happiness is out of reach, but rather that we've been blinded by delusions and attachments of the mind. We constantly feel inadequate, not capable enough, not resourceful enough, not lucky enough. We forget the true nature of life, that we were all born with everything we need to realize our potential and find inner peace. This isn't spiritual fluff. It is the most authentic state of being. Within each of us lies dormant a wellspring of potential, wisdom, courage, and love, innate gifts embedded in our very core. These are treasures of the soul. Like a sleeping giant waiting to be awakened, they have never left us. Unfortunately, many are trapped by limiting beliefs. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve this. What others have is better. These thoughts are like thick curtains, blocking the light within. Only when you believe in your inherent abundance can you begin to draw back those curtains and let your light shine. Through introspection, you awaken awareness. Through reflection, you clear the dust. Through learning, you break down mental barriers. Through experience, you shed labels others have imposed on you. Through acceptance, you allow yourself to be imperfect, yet whole. When your inner wisdom and strength are activated, the life you desire is no longer something to be obtained, but something to be created. There is a saying that captures this truth well. The outer world is merely a projection of the inner world. The reason you're not living the life you envision isn't because fate is unfair, but because your inner perception has become clouded. Like a projector lens covered in dust, the image it casts will naturally be blurry. When you challenge your biases, transcend narrow thinking, and let go of the belief that, I'm not enough, the lens becomes clear, and the reality you seek begins to take shape. So, there's no need to envy the light of others. What you see as someone else's success or abundance is simply a reflection of how they've awakened their inner treasure sooner. If you haven't reached that point yet, it's only because your light is still waiting to be seen. When you begin to look inward, you reclaim the steering wheel of your life. Because anything you truly desire to accomplish, there will always be a way. Or at least a way closer. You don't need to beg the world for love. Your very existence is a vessel of love. You don't need to rely on others for validation. Your worth doesn't require anyone's approval. You don't need material things to prove you're happy. Inner peace cannot be measured by external possessions. These innate abilities have always been there. All that's needed is for you to reach out and touch them. You are already complete. Why seek outside? Over 2,000 years ago, the temple of Apollo at Delphi bore the inscription, "Know thyself." Lao Tzu once said, "Knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom." Ancient wisdom from both East and West points to the same truth. Only by looking inward can we find the root of life. When you see your strengths and desires clearly, and accept your flaws and limitations, you'll realize that the power to live well has always been within you. When you no longer seek external validation, you'll discover that your very being is valuable. When you no longer look outside for strength, you'll understand that inner certainty is more secure than any external support. When you stop seeking answers from the world, you'll finally realize the path beneath your feet is yours alone to walk. You no longer need to drift with the current, you can walk firmly on your own path. Because you now know that your direction lies within, not in the eyes of others. You are already complete. Why seek outside? This is not an invitation to become passive or to avoid the world. It's not saying, since I lack nothing, I no longer need to try. Nor is it a rejection of external opportunities and challenges. Instead, it's a call to live with your inner self as the foundation, to view the outside world with clarity and calm. It is the light that cuts through the fog of confusion and illuminates the way back to yourself. To a path of conscious, grounded, and empowered living. This kind of positivity is no longer driven by anxiety or lack. It flows naturally from inner abundance. When you are truly connected to your inner richness, when you recognize your self-worth and inner power, you will no longer be lost in the noise. You will remain clear, independent, and serene, using your inner strength to face the chaos around you. Eventually, you will become the version of yourself you've always longed to be, whole and fulfilled. This is not the result of begging from the outside, but the inevitable fruit of taking root within.